She's the daughter of a legendary action hero and an iconic supermodel. With a bloodline connected to both Hollywood stardom and legitimate martial arts, Arissa LeBrock seemed destined for a WWE ring. And in December 2019, she got her shot, a tryout at the WWE Performance Center in Orlando, Florida. This was that golden ticket moment, where a famous name gets your foot in the door, but only raw talent and grit can keep you inside. The wrestling world was buzzing, ready to see what the daughter of Steven Seagal and Kelly LeBrock could do. But after the tryout, the buzz faded. And then, silence. With no official word, fans were left to wonder what happened. For years, her name became a piece of wrestling trivia. A what-if story about a prospect who seemed to have it all before disappearing. But the truth isn't about backstage drama or a lack of talent. It's a far more human story about a brutal setback, the darkness that followed, and a comeback nobody saw coming. To get why Arissa LeBrock's quiet disappearance was such a mystery, you have to understand why she looked like such a perfect prospect. She wasn't just another hopeful. She was a fascinating mix of two different worlds. On one side, you've got her father, Steven Seagal. A seventh Dan black belt in Aikido, he built an entire career on being an untouchable martial arts master, making his name synonymous with a very specific, bone-crunching style of action hero. On the other, you have her mother, Kelly LeBrock. She was the supermodel and actress who helped define an era with movies like Weird Science, embodying pure Hollywood glamour. Arissa grew up at this strange intersection of authentic combat discipline and high-fashion star power. And though her mother tried to give her a grounded childhood away from the spotlight on a ranch, the instincts of both parents were clearly in her DNA. Instead of just riding her family's coattails, Arissa started building her own credibility. She dove headfirst into the grueling world of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, training at the respected Paragon Jiu-Jitsu and Kickboxing Academy in California. This wasn't for show. It was a serious pursuit where she earned her stripes on the mats. At the same time, she stepped into her mother's world, finding success as a plus-size model and appearing on the Lifetime series Growing Up Supermodel in 2017. For a company like WWE, this combination was electric. She had a marketable look, the poise of a model, the toughness of a BJJ practitioner, and a last name that guaranteed instant headlines. So when the biggest name in sports entertainment invited her to a tryout, it felt like destiny. This was her chance to prove she was more than just a name. She was a fighter. The WWE Performance Center tryout is notoriously intense. It's a multi-day crucible designed to push elite athletes, from former NFL players to Olympic medalists, to their breaking point, both physically and mentally. For Arissa, her BJJ background should have been a huge asset, making her no stranger to pain and exhaustion. But the wrestling ring is a whole different animal. The art of taking bumps and the unique cardio it demands can humble even the most conditioned athletes. She went through the grueling tryout, but it was afterward that disaster struck. Arissa later confirmed that she got hurt shortly after her time in Orlando, suffering a severe injury that brought her wrestling ambitions to a screeching halt. One moment, she was on the verge of her dream. The next, it was snatched away by a cruel twist of fate. The silence that followed was misunderstood. Since she was never officially under contract, WWE had no obligation to make an announcement, which is standard procedure. This created a void, and fan speculation naturally filled it. Behind the scenes, Arissa entered a difficult period. A serious injury isn't just a physical battle. The psychological toll can be even worse. It's a time filled with doubt and the haunting question of, what if? In a moment of incredible honesty, she later gave insight into her mindset, revealing how the call for a second chance pulled her out of a deep struggle. When I got the call from Dustin, I realized that I had become comfortable in the darkest, worst place in my life, she said. It suggested a feeling of surrender, a belief that the dream was truly over. For years, it seemed Arissa LeBrock's wrestling story was finished. The injury had stopped her momentum, and she had retreated from the public eye. But just when it looked like the dream was dead, her phone rang. On the other end was one of wrestling's most respected figures, Dustin Rhodes. Known to millions as the unforgettable and bizarre Goldust in WWE, Dustin is wrestling royalty. As the son of the legendary American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, he knows all about the pressure of a famous last name and the fight to prove you belong. Now, a veteran star and coach with All Elite Wrestling, Dustin runs the Rhodes Wrestling Academy in Texas, a school built on old-school principles. Dustin saw past the injury and the famous parents. He saw an athlete with a story that wasn't finished. He offered her a second chance, moved to Texas and train with him. For Arissa, that call was the lifeline she needed to shake her out of that comfortable darkness. She made a huge decision, leaving her life in California to go all in. The Rhodes Wrestling Academy is a world away from the polished WWE Performance Center. It's a gritty, no-frills dojo where you earn respect through sweat. Here, Arissa was a dedicated student, not just a number in a mass tryout. She was broken down and rebuilt from the ground up. She worked with personal trainers to rebuild her body and mind for the ring's demands. Dustin Rhodes himself praised her drive. Speaking on the Sports Guys Talking Wrestling podcast, he said, "She's come off of modeling in California and things like that. We're working with a personal trainer and she's trying to get everything, all her ducks in a row. She's doing a great job, but this is only the beginning for her." He then made a bold prediction. Pretty soon, the whole world's going to be talking about Arissa LeBrock. After months of transformative training, her moment of truth finally came. In March 2023, Arissa LeBrock competed in the Rhodes Wrestling Academy's Student Showcase, her official in-ring debut. It wasn't in a giant arena, but in an intimate setting for a crowd that understands the sacrifice it takes to step through those ropes. Competing in a handicap match, she was finally introduced not as a prospect, but as a performer. As she entered the ring, she wasn't Steven Seagal's daughter or a what-if story. She was a professional wrestler who had overcome a devastating injury and crippling self-doubt to be there. The story of why Arissa LeBrock disappeared from the WWE radar was never a scandal. It was a harsh lesson in the brutal reality of professional wrestling. A serious injury derailed her dream, and the resulting silence allowed a false narrative to grow. But her real story is about what happened next. It's a story of pure resilience. Sidelined but not defeated, she was guided by a legend who understood her burden and rebuilt her dream from scratch, paying her dues the old-fashioned way. The excitement around her might have started because of her parents, but her comeback story is one she's writing all on her own. Arissa LeBrock has proven that a famous name isn't a free pass. Sometimes it's a heavier weight to carry. She isn't just carrying her family's legacy anymore. She's redefining it with her own grit. The chapter on her WWE disappearance is closed, but the book on her wrestling career is just getting started. And that leaves one big question. With her unique look, legit combat skills, and a comeback story fans can rally behind, where does she go from here? Will her path lead back to the global stage of WWE to conquer the mountain that once seemed impossible? Or will she join her mentor, Dustin Rhodes, in the ranks of AEW? Let us know your dream scenario in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this story, make sure to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of wrestling.